So, get this. Have you ever thought about how a country could, just change its entire religion? All because its king was completely broke. Well, believe it or not, that is the incredible story we are diving into today. We're going to see how one king's massive debt problem sparked a total spiritual and political revolution in Sweden.
I mean, really think about it. You've just become king. You've got this entire country to look after. But there's one tiny problem. You have no money. Your pockets are totally empty. That was the exact massive dilemma facing Sweden's King Gustav Vasa back in the 1500s.
All right, so let's set the scene. Here's our main character, a brand new king staring down a kingdom-sized financial crisis from day one. And we are not talking about being a little short on cash here. Gustav Vasa owed an absolute fortune to Germany for helping him get to the throne in the first place. So he had the crown, sure, but none of the cash he needed to actually rule. So what's a broke king gonna do?
Well, when you're looking for money, you go to where the money is, right? And back in 16th century Europe, one institution had more wealth than pretty much anyone else combined.
That's right. Gustav Vasa looks around his kingdom. He sees these huge, glorious, incredibly wealthy churches. And a light bulb goes off. The solution to his money problem, it's right there in front of him. It's the church itself. You have to understand, the Catholic Church at this time was an absolute powerhouse. It wasn't just a religious thing. It was a financial empire. It owned huge amounts of land, it collected taxes, and it even sold something called indulgences. Basically, get-out-of-purgatory early cards for cold, hard cash. And the guy in charge of all this wealth? The Pope, sitting far away in Rome. So the king sees this giant treasure chest, but it's locked up tight by centuries of religious tradition and the incredible power of the Pope. I mean, you couldn't just go and grab the church's money. To his people, that would have looked like declaring war on God himself. He needed a reason, an excuse, a really, really good one. And almost as if on cue, just when he needed it most, this revolutionary set of ideas starts spreading across Europe like wildfire, giving him the perfect cover for his plan. So word reaches Gustav Vasa about this German monk, Martin Luther, who's out there publicly calling out the church for being too wealthy and too powerful. Now, Luther's reasons were all about faith, but for a king with a massive debt, his ideas sounded a whole lot like a political opportunity. Okay, so let's break this down. It was a huge clash of ideas. You had the old way, the Catholic Church. The Pope has the final say on everything. The church is fabulously wealthy, and the Bible is only in Latin, which almost nobody could actually read. Then you have Luther's new ideas. Hey, maybe the Pope should have less power. Maybe all that church money should actually go to help the people. And you know what? The Bible should be in languages everyone can understand. For Gustav Vasa, hearing about all this wasn't some big spiritual awakening. Nope, it was a moment of pure political and financial genius. You can just imagine the gears turning in his head. He immediately saw how he could twist these religious arguments to fit his own needs. If the Pope shouldn't have so much power, well, who should? The king, of course. And if the church has way too much money, well, he knew exactly where that money should go. So he goes to the Swedish people and pitches his plan as this great patriotic move to make the whole nation stronger. He says they'll follow Luther's new ideas and use the church's money to build up the country. And in this amazing, almost comical slip of the tongue, he declared, "Together we will make Sweden, rich and safe again." I mean, that pretty much says it all right there, doesn't it? So now that he had his perfect excuse, Gustav Vasa did not waste a single second. He immediately started a systematic, step-by-step takeover of the entire church in Sweden. His plan was just brutally simple and effective. Step 1, all church money, all its treasures, everything, it now belongs to the king. Bam. Step 2, the Pope is out. The king is now the head of the church in Sweden. Done. And steps 3 and 4 were just brilliant for getting the people on his side. Church services and the Bible itself would now be in Swedish, making religion way more personal and accessible than ever before. And the result of all this? The king's money problems were solved, and then some. He didn't just pay off his debts. He used all that church wealth to become one of the richest kings in all of Europe. He took everything. We're talking cash, gold, silver, centuries of priceless artifacts, all the stuff that normal people had donated to their local churches over generations. It was just a massive transfer of wealth, straight from the house of God into the king's personal treasury. Now, what Gustav Vasa did in Sweden, as dramatic as it was, wasn't happening in a vacuum. It was all part of a much bigger European movement we now call the Reformation, a massive historical shift that challenged the Pope's power and created brand new ways of being Christian.
And this new branch of Christianity that came out of it was called Protestantism. It's easy to remember because it literally came from people protesting the Catholic Church. And a huge feature of it, as we just saw with our friend Gustav, was that the new boss wasn't the Pope in Rome anymore, it was the local ruler, the king.
So Gustav Vasa got his money, he grabbed more power, and he completely changed his country forever. It's just a wild reminder of how a leader's personal problems, in this case a giant debt, can kickstart a national revolution, reshaping politics, culture, and faith for centuries. But it does leave you wondering, doesn't it? He was rich and powerful, sure, but did he ever pay back that debt to Germany?